Welcome to our continuing series, Sri Aurobindo Ashram, The Early Years. And today I have the honor of being with Srikant. Namaste. Srikant, when did you first hear of Mother and Sri Aurobindo?
Now, our family, that is my grandfather, in 1936 came to Pondicherry. All right, before my birth. In fact, I didn't think, but so quickly it will come. This is the family photo. This is my grandfather.
Oh, with the turban.
So, from my father and grandfather's side, they had very big opening towards spirituality and this thing. He was the chief engineer of the Porbandar state in those days. So after the king, the chief minister and the third chair would be his.
I see.
The whole of the civil department was under him, electricity department was under him, the whole of the port of Porbandar was under him. And people used to say that Mani Bhai must have made so much money that for 7 generations he wouldn't have any problem. And yet so honest he was that when he retired, it was just at the time of 1947. So the pension and all these things we did not realize. So my grandmother, here she is, all right, she was staying in the ashram eventually. She had difficulty with money. All right. In fact, we had all, my father was also like that. I have been a little like my father. That I have never cared for material things. Always been looking for things other than beyond me. So, your first question, it was in 1949. I was probably 3.5 years old. During those days, boys and we were not that very open, Nowadays, after 1968 and the new consciousness coming down, Mother herself says in her agenda that the new generation children are different. And she says, I want to see after 1968 the children. And really you have to see. Today, nowadays, the way they handle with the cell phone, the way they handle with things, material things, we are outdated. We can't catch them up with them.
Yes.
Because the new consciousness is working constantly. So, at that age, at 3.5, I hardly knew anything. And my mother, she had decided to come to the south. My younger brother was just 1.5 or 1 year, 9 months. He could not be left behind. So my mother brought him. So 1949, he has come to Pondicherry with my mother. And I was very upset. I cried, I want to go, I want to go, I want to go. So my father said, all right, daily I'll take you on the bicycle on the race course to give a round. And daily I'll read to you something interesting for you. So the first time what he read to me was from magazine Bal Dakshina, and was tremendously touched by mother's symbol, especially during those days made by E-group girls. You must have seen in a video also, that white 3x3 girls sleeping and then that. And so much I was touched by it. That has been my greatest asset, good or bad, whatever you like, that once I am in a subject, I forget everything else. I don't know anything which is remaining then. I'm in it and that's about all. And I had a lot of difficulties at time giving timing, and then if I go in a subject, I've forgotten everything else. So this was from my father's side or grandfather's side, I got, the touch of the spirituality.
What was it in Mother's symbol that touched you so deeply?
That mother's symbol itself.
The symbol itself.
Symbol itself. All the girls making e-group girls making the symbol. And what it touched me was the girls were part of it. I want to be a part of this. This was my clear wish. I had no this thing, but I want to be a part of it.
And you were so young.
Yes. So much so, I said, but this is being done by girls. So that's why I wanted to become a girl. If it is done by girls, I want to become a girl. And that feeling remained with me for a very, very long time. Till I came here, in fact. I came here at the age of 11. I was extremely a mischievous boy. Of course, this side was my grandfather and father's side. My mother's side, she came from Bombay, daughter of a businessman. So she was very practical, very, very methodical up to this thing. And in fact, because my father was like that, wherever he found anything wrong, he would give up the work. Now, you are working in an organization. He is dishonest, I won't work there. You have got 5 children, but he never bothered. So we had constant difficulty of management, though I'm saying grandfather had come, but my mother's brother and all that from Bombay businessmen, they used to give something and we used to manage. So my father used to keep on changing his businesses because he never liked being settled at one place because of his nature. And I have partly turned like my father. I have been extremely honest, but I have been as simpleton, or as you might say, as simple as my father. That has been both a blessing and disguise. People can easily fool me away. But at the same time, once I'm in something, because of this nature, I go. I was extremely a good student right from the beginning. So much so that even in Gujarati I must have studied at least 2-3 almirahs full of books during those days. When I came here at the age of 11, right in the morning by 4 o'clock, myself and my younger brother, we used to go to Ramayana Pathshala. That was away from, it was an extracurricular activity because I liked. Morning 4 o'clock, otherwise the school will open. So by the time I came here at the age of 11, I knew the whole of Bhagavad Gita by heart. All 18 adhyaya. Alright? I knew half the Tulsi Ramayana by heart. My memory was extremely strong. Read any poem, all that. I had no inclination towards any poetry or prose. Of course, I was reading Bhagavad Gita, but I hardly understood anything much of it that Guruji used to explain. But my this thing was that even in Ramayana Pathshala and all that, I liked doing dramas. Right from my childhood. I remember first time I did the part of Bhimsen. I was quite chubby at that time. And so we shifted our position constantly. Sometime I was in Bombay, sometimes I was in Ahmedabad, sometimes I was in Chennai. Father kept on changing. From Chennai, it was more or less clear between my mother and my father. And because of this nature of my father, my mother never got along with him very well. No woman wants, the children are left like that, and father does not give you regular earning, does not look after the children. And she was in great difficulty. So he had made up his mind that we are in Chennai. Well, he will come to Pondicherry and probably he is going to stay here. My mother was very upset and she said, all right, I will manage. So he said that you have come so far now from Pondicherry, now Chennai, you will never be able to come once you go to north again. During those days it was not that easy. So some amount of money he had in his pocket, he bought some tickets. At least I am buying the tickets for you people to come to Pondicherry. And afterwards you are on your own. So my sister Hansa, and we were constantly with difficulty because my father and my mother never got along well. There were quarrels and all types of difficulties. So my sister Hansa really protected two younger brothers. When we came to Pondicherry in 1956, so that was 1st August 1956 we came, with tickets also ready for 16th of August 1956 to go back, just after the darshan. Well, we never went back after that. Came here. So my mother was not at all happy to stay here. She said, what will happen, this, that. But the way my nature was, my younger brother was really very young. He was 8, 9 years old. It's my sister who had to make up the mind, Hansa. You know Hansa well.
Hansa?
Yes, Hansa Lakshman.
Yes, very well, very well.
So she is my elder sister. So she sort of put her this thing and she said, I think we would like to stay here. And I said, yes, I also want to stay. So during those days it was very simple. Mother was asked. Mother was normally, some photographer of the ashram will take the photos and send to mother. Mother will see the photograph and then decide. So it was just the end of the year. But she said yes, and by 2nd September, by October, you know, India, the school ends. By 2nd September, we joined the school. All right. My father was such that he wouldn't ask anything. So we got basically the food, some accommodation that ashram gave us, mother gave us. But we had no means, you know, of clothing or hair oil or soap and all that. As a result, I lost the habit of putting, you know, hair oil over my head. Even today it is like that.
What is your first remembrance of mother?
I'll tell you that soon. So, once we went to school, there were all types of experiences which were there. Now, mother, she was, we were given in the group with Nirata, and we were in the guest house, you know. Nirata, and then we came to Tara's group. We were as yet green group, but we are in the guest house. And I was myself mischievous, but at the same time, there were very, very mischievous boys in there, like Baba Bhai Patel.
Oh, yes.
And we would do mischief. And we were so cleverly we would do mischief that Tara could never catch us. All right. And people were afraid. Tara will tell Pranada will tell mother, you know, we will get a good scolding. And especially people were afraid of this. During those days when master drill, chopti, you know, it was there, so semi-rope. And he would hit with that. So, that is my first contact. That one day morning, early morning, I had gone to Library of Physical Education. This incident I remember very well, and even Pranab remembered till the end. There was a notice board. There were some clips, you know. One clip was loose. Now, because of my nature and all that repairing, tinkering, I'm a civil engineer, by the way. So one clip was loose, I tried to fit it up. It was probably tempered too much, so it broke. I got terribly frightened that Pranab will come from the mother down, and I quickly came out from there. But the way my makeup and everything, I had Ramayana and all that, Ramayana Pathshala. I could not tell lies. This was one of the things. And that's why I used to get into a lot of trouble. Right? Simple things also. I didn't know how to cover up on that. So after 2 days, I made up my mind that I have to go and tell to Pranab this. And I was fully prepared. I didn't want that he should hit me and all that publicly. So I went in the morning just when he comes down from mother. And just near the notice board, as he entered, a very, very great fear, I told him, Dada, this clip has broken, with my hand. So he said, how it broke? So I said, this is what happened. So unusually to my expectation, he just patted me. I said, this is the type of children we want in the ashram. Don't worry at all. And symbolically kept that broken clip there and there, never trying to repair it, till the whole board changed and all that, and automatically it changed. So that Pranabda became my, whenever I had any difficulty, I would always go and tell him, and he would sort of. And that relation remained till the end. And even today also, that recording of Pranab's recording that we did on 21st of November 1973, just after mother left her body.
In the playground?
No, this was in the ashram main building. This is a unique recording. I have just got Pranab had asked me 3 times that you give me. But it was in such a situation, it was recorded in spool tape. And we didn't know how to convert it to CD and DVD. And finally it is just out now. So it was a famous talk, night 10 to 12. Alright, just around the Samadhi, sitting on the. Now that talk, why it happened is this way. Let us not go too much digress it ahead. We will come back on this subject later on. So as I grew up, saw mother, the first time somebody told me that you can ask mother, symbols. So I asked during the playground, mother symbols I want, and she immediately gave me 2 symbols from my mother. That was my first contact with her. But otherwise, by and large, I wasn't at all attached to mother's. She was taking classes. The boys were doing mischief in the guest house. Pranab will keep us. I never attended to her class and all that. There were some good friends, elder friends. So they sort of introduced to me one Arvind Babu, one who is dead now.
Oh yes, yes.
He introduced to me on 2 poems of Sri Aurobindo. Correct? One was In the Moonlight. And as a result, that poem In the Moonlight I know even today by heart.
Do you? Well, I'd like you to recite it one day. Maybe in our next interview you could recite it. I have the written poem
So
here.
In the Moonlight, and he introduced me to also the Thoughts and Aphorisms. Now, Thoughts and Aphorisms in those days had not even come out as a book. Mother was taking classes and all that. But I liked the aphorism until a very, very long time. That became sort of, my Bible of my life. Because I liked so much. As I told you, when I get into something, I really get it. So that is why the first time I went up to mother, for my birthday and asking, I had never asked mother. That time I thought that I should ask her one book in French, her book, and one book of Sri Aurobindo in English. So I asked the mother, I want Paroles d'autrefois, that is Tales of Long Time, and Thoughts and Aphorisms. So you must understand, this is 1961, 56 I have come. I hardly knew even ABCD at that time. But I was terribly, as far as Hindi, Gujarati, all these things are concerned. A lot of good things I had brought, but a lot of bad things also had come. So at night I used to sleep and I used to keep on talking, past things is that. So my mother reported to Divine Mother. So Divine Mother sent her blessings to keep it below his pillow while he's sleeping. And everything good and bad I forgot. Alright? Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, everything I forgot. But that later on I realized became a good thing that I could keep in mind, then the prayers and meditation, and then the poems of Sri Aurobindo and Savitri. And because I was more or less, a student of science and engineering, I had not much liking for any. Of course, I had some touch for the painting when I was young. In Gujarat, everybody towards painting and all these things are open. Gujarati as a community itself. So, but so while I was studying engineering, before that, one of the memorable experience that I would never forget is, somebody told you should never challenge, I had good friends, of course. There was Kiran Vyas, I don't know if you know him. All right. Kiran Vyas you should meet because he's running a Ayurvedic section in Normandy.
Oh.
All right. He's also a lot of centers he has in Gujarat. He's closely in connect with Narendra Modi, and Narendra Modi only has helped him. And he was more intelligent, 1 year elder to me. He used to guide me always. But I stuck here, and then finally he went out, and he's doing a lot of good work outside. So he would tell me, they do this, do like that, this, that. The way my nature was wild, so they said that you should never challenge any forces. I said, why not? You should try and control, try and remain quiet. So I don't know what happened that day. So that day I said that today I will keep control over my anger. It's not that I was a particularly type who used to get angry or like that. Of course I used to fight and all that, like any child does. But today I am going to keep myself without anger. My Lord, I can't imagine that day I had such a fight with a girl much elder to me, a Tamil girl, Amma. Today, of course, she's one of my best friends. She stays in Naples in Italy. Whenever she'll come and meet me. But such a physical fight. And then I got hurt in the wrist. So I went to Dr. Nipendra. He asked me, as usual, I had no way to hide anything, so I frankly told this word, you fought with a girl and you got hurt with it, I am not going to treat you, you go. He was right in his own way. I felt very bad within myself. But this was always my blessings in disguise. So anyway, Thoughts and Aphorisms. So when she gave me Thoughts and Aphorisms in 1961, she looked at me and looked at the book. Twice she looked, and that's why Thoughts and Aphorisms became really my Bible. Mother was always like that. She will she will throw something, and that becomes, So, but she must have seen something in me regarding my dramatics. 2 dramas I did in French. One in 1960, 21st February, in the playground in front of mother in French. That was the story of Nachiketa. It was written by somebody in French. And I was one of the flame there, 7 flames. That photo has appeared in the bulletin also. But in 1962, 21st February, that was one of I did quite an important part. I was a young man there, but I was dressed up as an old man. It was the story Yunam Sovereign, that is a sovereign soul. Krishna Chakravarti was the princess. And I was the old man who told her. If you look at it, it is like a story of Savitri, where this princess, looking back if I see. And this old man sort of guides her that you should really, you are our future. So in front of the mother, all the people who took part, a photograph was taken that was printed in the bulletin. And mine also, that photograph today also exists. All right? And those days, mother herself used to choose the photos to print in the bulletin. All right? And so both the photos, mine and Krishna Chakravarti's, were printed in the bulletin of 1962 April. After that, I must have done hundreds of dramas, Gujarati, Sanskrit, that was my liking. English, French. And I used to go to dramatics class. Initially there was Srimai. I don't know if you have seen Srimai. She was the younger sister of Svetlana. And later on Svetlana came. But first it was Srimai who was teaching us dramatics. So the first poems of Sri Aurobindo, she introduced to me, she made me learn by heart, and I had to recite and all that in the class. And that was the golden light. Right? The golden light. Thy golden light came down into my brains, and the grey rooms of mind sun-touched became. A bright reply to wisdom's occult plane, a calm illumination and a flame. Thy golden light came down into my throat, and all my speech is now a tune divine. So this is once I enter into dramatics and start coming into the emotions and start giving emotions, then the memory starts failing. I know the poem by heart.
Yeah.
So much so that really, unless the words, as though I'm reciting for the first time. So as I started entering into the poem, the words started failing me. You noticed?
Yes.
Thy golden light came down into my throat, and all my speech is now a tune divine. A pine song of thee, my single note. My words are drunk with the mortal's wine. Thy golden light came down into my heart, smiting my life with thy eternity. Now has it grown a temple where thou art, and all its passions point towards only thee. Thy golden light, thy golden light came down into my feet. This earth is now thy playfield and thy seat. So that was, some of the other teachers also introduced me, but I didn't like them very much. Follow? It was not yet the time for me. Could learn by heart, recite. Now in the midst of my engineering, meanwhile there were incidents here and there, I also, on the other side, I was too proud a person to ask anybody anything. By nature I was like that. So as I said that I got food, I got an accommodation, we were very, very, very happy with it. But my shirt, my shorts, so much so that I was managing the whole year with 2 shirts that I was getting from playground. Just wash the shirt today and then tomorrow I'll wear like that. Sometimes even in the school I'll wear playground shorts and go. And say, what happened? So some joke I'll cut and try and cut out. My expenditure of the rest of the things around, also simple listing, was annually 25 rupees. All right? So I have lived, and I would never ask anything to anybody. Recently, before Pranab left, I just one day told him, so, you know, Dada, so one of the things that time was very close to him. Okay, one of my shirt in the sports ground I lost. I had 2 shirts only. So I had no way but to go to him and ask for another shirt. So he laughed. I said, what did I do? I said, you scolded me a little bit, saying that you people create chaos and disorder, and we have to get new things. But you sanctioned me another shirt, all right. So he also laughed, I also laughed. Now, so while I was studying engineering, slowly I was looking, but I never liked Sri Aurobindo's books or even mother's books and all that. I used to always find it. In fact, I wanted to go out also sometime. My mother was pushing me. But I don't know why, in the midst of my engineering, where it was heavy course, teachers were good and all that, but I started attending the common course classes also. That is poetry, life divine, synthesis of yoga. I got a headache. I didn't like it at all. Some things were being made clear. Kirit Joshi is a good teacher. Sanat Kumar Banerjee, Kirit Joshi. So I went to, whenever I had any difficulty and all that, either I would write to Pranab or I'll write through Andre. I never went to Kirit. Because Kirit, I always found him too mental, giving answers and all that. So I went to Andreda. And I told him my difficulty. He heard. He said, Srikant, I have a feeling that you have a point. But what you are saying doesn't make much sense to me and I don't know what to tell to mother. So I suggest to you that sit quietly in a corner and write down your difficulty. Okay, then you will have to become specific. Okay, what the difficulty is. I understand, I have a feeling that you have a point and something which needs to be taken care of. When I wrote down, things became very clear. So I wrote to her, mother, I'm going to all the common course teachers and all that, but what they are teaching becomes clear. But you say that Sri Aurobindo is above mind. The things become clear to me. So I said, well, what he has written also is written from a rational point of view, because now things have become clear. So somewhere that I had the awe of Sri Aurobindo that is above mind, that I am losing. Things are becoming clear, but at the same time, I am not, I'm feeling that I am losing more than I am gaining. That awe for Sri Aurobindo, that love for Sri Aurobindo, somewhat is getting less. So during those times, somebody else also had written something similar to Mother. I don't know who. He became very serious. He said, how are you teaching my books and Sri Aurobindo's books to my children? And who has asked you to teach them at all?
Oh.
No, this will not do. You sit. So don't think yourself to be very intelligent. If the children come to ask anything, you explain to them. Otherwise, don't try and meddle yourself in the regarding my books and Sri Aurobindo's books. So then she told Andre, as far as this boy is concerned, he doesn't have to go to any teachers. I am personally taking care of him. Whenever I think of these moments, I get terribly emotional. So I started wondering, what have I got to do? I have to daily take books to her upstairs and study, or what have I to do? I didn't understand at all. So Andre said, but she has asked me that what time daily you are going to study. So I didn't understand what time I'm going to study. I don't study at all. I don't know what. I was confused completely. So Andre told me, look here, you are going to common course classes daily. So to start with, those very same classes of common course, you start reading Mother and Sri Aurobindo. I said, that's all right. Now common course classes, some classes were on the first period, some were in the second, some in the third, some in the fourth. Now what Mother wanted was definite timing when she was going to, and probably she was going to send her forth. I didn't understand all these things. But Andrea said that, all right, yes, I will tell this to Mother. And that I have told him this. And Mother also accepted. That means that any time I could start studying and her force will come in. I didn't understand that. So to start with, I never liked, all the books of Sri Aurobindo and Mother at all. To start with. Too heavy I used to find, didn't interest me. And that's one of the first things that Sri Aurobindo says. That you make your lessons supremely disinteresting and then complain about the inattention of the child. So I said, he has told this, so I also must read something which potently I like. And since I'm in the mood of dramatics and all that I like a lot, so I started with Sri Aurobindo's dramas. Study. Took very, very seriously. Every word that I didn't know, I look up the dictionary. The same class, our engineering class was a separate class. Study quietly. But since, I don't know how it happened. Because the power of attention and concentration I had always when I was a good student. And since it happened, first period, second period, whenever I started studying, slowly I started entering into the style of Sri Aurobindo's writing without really understanding and realizing. From dramas to stories to... Now, while I was reading, I don't know why, Sri Aurobindo says Mother says you should develop your faculties. So, two things had happened simultaneously. In Mother's book, Parodotva, that she had given me, that I had studied a little bit. So, one of the things that attracted me, which she says in Parodotva, that all of us waste our time at night. You should try and, it is difficult, she says, but you should try and have a conscious sleep. But because of my nature and because the way I was concentrate. And dramas especially, when I would do a drama, I was so serious about it, even in the midst of the street while I'm walking, I'm thinking of those lines. And especially to try and be in the character. So one of the first drama that I remember very, very well, where I got identified with the character, was Srimai was doing with us from W.B. Yeats, The Countess Kathleen. I don't know if you have read The Countess Kathleen. A very, very Christian idea. There were two devils, Kiran Vyas and myself. I was the first devil, he was the second devil. Chanda, Monada's one who looks after. She was the Countess Kathleen. And the idea was of a buying of souls and selling souls and all that, a totally Christian idea. But my Lord, the last 4 lines that in the theatre it was, and once I start concentrating, nothing exists in front of me. I got identified with the devil. So powerful was the experience and so very frightening. People didn't understand, but somehow I struggled through the theatre, and held one of the pillars which are outside the theatre, caught hold of it and sat down. I was shaking. But those 4 lines which I gave there, and all the lights became red on me, focusing on me, and then I gave those lights and the lines. It was surprising. I don't know if you have heard the name of Kamalakanto. He was a writer in Bengali, English, and he was I don't know, maybe after 15 years, 20 years, suddenly in the gate he's telling me, bhai, those that you did the part of the first devil in Countess Kathleen, I have never forgotten. Because I didn't tell him that I got identified. So when you do that, and you become part of it, you gain new experience. Something happens.
Did Mother see it?
No. Mother didn't see that time. Mother, after 1962, she has not come to the theatre.
Do you remember the lines, the 4 lines?
I purposely avoided those lines. Because for next 6 months, if I thought of those 4 lines, hovering and clawing over my Lord, it was such a frightening experience. over the soul of Countess Kathleen.
How often did you see Mother?
Not very much. I had not much contact with the mother, but the way my nature was that I used to keep a lot of contact with the next generation, that is those who are going to mother. Now engineering, all my teachers were daily going to mother. Udar, Pradyodha, then Vishwanath. I mean, they would be so often going to mother and coming and telling daily stories of the mother, something or the other. So, a lot of good things I used to get from all these teachers. And so anyway, this particular experience of getting identified helped me in those dramas, and then must have done hundreds of dramas, whether in Sanskrit or in Gujarati. I used to get identified. And people, those who they consider me as a veteran, Amitadi and all these people, they used to laugh, the way I used to say, Srikant, what is this? But anyway, I would be getting very simple even very simple acting part. But those parts used to be done so well and so very in identity that people remembered the whole drama because of that. Like I'll give you the experience. The American drama, The Billy Budd. Have you read the drama, The Billy Budd?
Billy Budd?
Billy Budd.
Yes. I remember it.
Now this drama, it was Kanu who was directing, and of course Svetlana and all these people were helping. I had a very minor role, the dancer. Extremely minor role. The dancer is an old man in the ship. Have you read this drama, both of you, the Billy Budd? It's an old drama of the American this thing. And during those old days, the rules were very strict in the ship. So you have to listen to the captain, and that about all. Any mistake you make, you will get a whipping, and you are straight away, even killed even. So the captain and the master at arms was a torturer, and this Billy was a young boy. He hardly had done anything wrong. But this master at arms told all lies to the captain. So Billy Budd got so angry that he just gave a blow. But such a powerful blow he gave that master at arms died on the spot. So everybody said this has happened, and that master at arms was telling lies and all that. So the Captain Weir says, we have taken an oath. We have to stay by our flag and what we have taken the oath. So there is no other punishment but to give him, to hang him to death. During those days, the way the rules and all that are. So the dancer was the old man who loved this Billy really as his son. And I said, I sense the way they were talking, and I said, I sense a finality here. Others didn't understand. And the way I said that, I sensed that finality here, and that Captain Weir, the way he had beaten me and the way I had fallen, I used to make genuine falls, Few sentences I must have spoken the dancer. Next day, in the school, everybody said the dancer was the main part in the drama. And Kanu himself was saying, Srikant, Okay, even for years, even today I think of the way you. There were great fellows like Subhash and all these fellows. And earlier when they joined, I wasn't a very, as I would say, a very staccato and very quickly I would gain. But as time passed, slowly and as my concentration and attention increased, I would leave everybody behind. And the last day or the day of the grand rehearsal, I would come out absolutely in my elements. So the first time where we did the mother's drama, so the first time, that time it was Mother knew and Svetlana was doing the drama of Le Grand Sacré, the Great Secret, where the ship is there. And I was wondering, I have been given the part of the painter Le Peintre. The first time such great people like André did the part there, of an industrialist. And the painter was done by no less than Bernard Saprem. How am I to do such a part? But such were the emotions on the day of the grand rehearsal. Svetlana had to just let go because I forgot my part completely. So much emotions came in me. So much I got that I identified with the painter. That everybody is laughing, they are whispering, this is the line. No, total blank. Total blank. Grand rehearsal, this happened. Svetlana said, no, let it go. She knew.
She knew.
So then, but final day it came out very well.
Svetlana was a great actress and director in France.
I used to bring films for children in the school, with Pranab's permission and all that, of course. So, one of the series of French films that I brought was Svetlana's brother in that film. He was a great actor also. So she was very, very happy. And that film, Pranab liked it like anything, that serial. I said, if you can get me 35 millimeter, we'll show it in the playground and all that. I said, I've just got 16 millimeter only, I get it from French embassy from Delhi. So Svetlana was very happy to see the children seeing that film. Sasha Pitoev.
Petoyev, yes, Petoyev.
So as I started studying, I started noticing that when we are children, we start studying C-A-T, cat, B-A-T, bat. Then as we grow up, we say cat is playing with the ball. As we grow up, we start reading. Till somebody tells you, hey, don't read aloud, we are disturbed. So we start reading within the mind. But we notice that as yet the lips are moving. So while I was studying Mother's and Shobindo's books, I was doing this. Probably her power was working and all that, I hardly know. So I stopped moving my lips. I found my tongue was moving, I stopped moving my tongue. I found my larynx, something in the throat was moving, I stopped everything. And I really started reading word by word, my eyes skimming over the word. And as I developed this faculty, I found that I started reading 2 words, 3 words, started taking the meaning of half a line, 1 full line. We have heard Swami Vivekananda reading page by page, all right? Or even Sri Aurobindo in Alipur jail, You know the story that he was reading a detective book, and have you heard the story of Sri Aurobindo? Ah,
Not that story.
this I've heard from Sudhir Kumar, Monada's father. I was serving him at night, so one day he had told me. So everybody was playing, he's got a detective book like that, within 10-15 minutes, some 450 pages, book. So somebody jokingly said, so you have read it, of course. So Sri Aurobindo quietly said, yes. That fellow picked up any page he lifted and said, this is what happened. What happened, Sri Aurobindo? Cut, everything he went and told. So we think it's a miracle. It is not. This faculty can be developed. And as I started going without my realizing, I started reading, line by line, 2 lines, 3 lines. It is only the eyes that move over that passage and you get the meaning. You are reading. It's not that you are not reading, but you get that faculty. Otherwise, Life Divine, 3/4 of a page, 1 sentence is impossible to read. Initially, I was getting headaches, as I told you. I never liked poetry and all that. What stage I started, the first I was going through thoughts and aphorisms. So many aphorisms I learned by heart. I didn't even realize that how from dramas I went to the stories of Sri Aurobindo. Then how I entered into small books like, some reference from something. I start reading that book, but not on yoga as yet. At what stage I entered into the serious books also I don't remember. Can you imagine that by the time I came to poetry and as something developed in me, I started liking poetry. And Savitri, which would really give me a headache. Finally, when I started studying Savitri, and meanwhile, because mother had said that any time, I can study, Randre told. My study of Sri Aurobindo, in the midst of my engineering courses, I was studying to start with 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. When I came to Savitri, I was studying Savitri 10 hours, 14 hours a day. And really, when I was studying, and not just merely reading, but studying, I came to the book of death. And I was studying that, I was really perspiring, like constantly I was bathing. Such was the power and strength.
Yes.
I must have studied Savitri by now at least 11 times. Just not read, but studied. Because that faculty had developed in me. My main books became, prayers and meditation. Meanwhile, mother's books also I studied. So something that I did, just reading, word by word, 2 word by 3 word, 4 word. By the end of 3 years, 4 years, I have studied everything what was available of Mother and Sri Aurobindo.
This is a very good place to stop today, that you've studied so much of them. Namaste.